Ron Stodghill, thanks for coming to talk to me about Where Everybody Looks Like Me, your new book about historically black colleges and universities. And I'm looking forward to our Bookwatch program. But, you know, you're a teacher at Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte.
Absolutely.
And we talk in general about the challenges that historically black colleges and universities face, and then maybe you can talk about that in connection with your historically black college, Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte.
Well, I did not arrive at Johnson C. Smith, UG, with the idea that I would write about them, but I arrived as a journalist, had spent a couple decades working as a journalist, and I wanted an opportunity to teach and be part of the leadership team at Johnson C. Smith University under Dr. Ronald Carter, who had joined there just a couple years prior. And so by the time I arrived, though, which would have been 2012, 13, there was one moment in particular where the loans were rejected in the middle of a school year. And this
for the
was
kids,
a
for the students.
Plus loans, right. This was the Department of Education changing the lending criteria for families, and it had a disproportionate effect on African American students, particularly at historically black colleges. And so students that had come in as a freshman who had qualified for this money didn't. And so they were being sent home in droves, and it was a very emotional time. Now, frankly, and fortunately, Johnson C. Smith figured it out, and they were able to find some money to retain some students. But there was a hemorrhaging that was starting to happen all across the country. And I thought at the HBCUs, and there are about 105 of them, and I thought, this is a time to really take a look at this, because I thought that Johnson C. Smith was perhaps, it was just more it crystallized what was happening throughout the HBCU community. In North Carolina, the abundance of the HBCUs, there are about 13 right here, I believe, maybe 12 or 13 right here, from St. Aug to North Carolina Central to A&T to Shaw to you name it, Bennett. And so I thought, okay, there's some competitive issues that are happening all over, and I wanted to write about those competitive issues. I mean, it always has been, these stories have been told mostly with a big wet kiss to HBCUs, the legacy, that these are great, they love their team, they love their fraternity, their marching band, their homecomings, but it's a time in which to really examine what's happening at these schools and how competitive they're going to be, and whether we can keep them around for another century.
What are the challenges for the survival of Johnson C. Smith and the other HBCUs in North Carolina and across the country?
Now, they're public ones and they're private ones, like Central and A&T, you know, and those are public, for instance. And then many of the other ones are private. The public ones are like line items in the state budget. So frankly, they are under a little more scrutiny, or a lot more scrutiny, than the private ones. And they tend to be larger, you know, some 8,000, 10,000 students, versus some of the smaller ones are down under 1,000. And so, but all of them do have some similar problems, right? And one of them would be declines in funding for students, student aid, right? Another would be, and so there's just less support, right? Then the other one might be that you can go, I mean, the times have changed. You can go, the top students can go to Duke, or they could go to North Carolina, Chapel Hill, or North Carolina, Charlotte, you name it, North Carolina State. They don't have to go to so you've got poaching to some, or just recruiting.
Well, we're going to talk about this a lot more when you come talk to me on North Carolina Bookwatch.
I'll be there.
When we talk about your book, Where Everybody Likes Me. But hey, everybody looks like me, and I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. Thank you.